These are the three biggest issues that we saw across our clients last year, and here's what we did to fix them and see 10x profit increases and doublings of revenue. I'm Marcos, the CEO of Woop Environmental. We help trades business owners get the most out of every dollar within their business by improving financial and operational efficiencies. I started out playing video games professionally and then transitioned into a coaching and data analyst role where I took in a bunch of data, figured out the issues within it, and then implemented solutions to fix that for the top teams across the world. Now, I help trades business owners get the most out of every dollar in their business. First issue we saw was with a very profitable company that just couldn't grow. They had seen stagnant growth for the last 3 years and just did not know why. So a little bit of context on this business. They've done about $1.3 million in revenue for the past 3 years. And the year before that, so 4 years ago, they'd done $300,000. So they had a massive jump in revenue and then they stopped. They stopped growing then. When we came in, we saw that their bids were amazing. They understood their costs perfectly. They closed almost every sale. They had a ton of repeat business coming in from other contractors all the time without spending almost any money on advertising. So why couldn't they grow? This is like a perfect business. Why can they not grow? Well, they did not have the money to hire another crew and get that crew the necessary equipment in that moment. They had really good revenue, but at no point did they have the margin that 1 month to the next, they can just throw in a bunch of money and get in that new crew, get new vehicles, all of that. So this company had a specific issue that a lot of small businesses actually have, but it's completely non-existent in the larger businesses. And that is that they fail to account for the growth of the company. Has the money to increase their capacity by 30% next week. They had no money going towards that and saying, hey, by this date, we'll do that. They were just hoping, hey, one of these days we'll be able to. We just need to get more sales. They can't get more sales because they don't have the capacity to take care of them. So they were truly stuck there. All right, let's break down how we structured it. Firstly, we never raised prices. All we did was take a portion of the profits from each bid and put that towards a capital account. So just a really good savings account for the business that they had. And we marked that money, hey, this needs to go into savings, this amount. So how do we figure out how much we needed to put in there? We knew that the company wanted to get that new crew, new vehicles, all the tools, all of that, third quarter of 2026. So we need to take in the cost of all the equipment, the cost to hire the crew, the cost to train the crew, and then the cost to get them up to full capacity. And then we divided that by the number of months from that point to midway through 2026, which was 24 months. We got them third quarter of 24. Now that we have the total dollar amount, we start to figure out how much we need to put away each month, which came out to $12,042. We had a grand total of $289,000. And that's exactly why they couldn't grow. They needed so much money, they don't have the cash flow to dump that amount of money 1 week to the next. So they needed a ton of money to hire that new crew, but they had no plan with it. They didn't have the cash flow to just dump that money in this week. So they needed to actually plan for that money, and they never did. So luckily, this business did have a ton of revenue coming in. So this is how we set it up in their bids. They have a 31% margin on all their bids. And then given that their revenue is 1.3 to 1.4 million every single year, and we need 12K each month, that puts it at about 10%. So we said, we're gonna take 10% of every single bid, and we're gonna put it into the capital account. Obviously, we have margins of more than 10%, so we're totally able to afford this, and the owners can still take quite a bit of money home. So once third quarter of 26 rolls around, we can get the crew in, we have all the money ready to go for that, and we don't have to focus on how do we get all this money? We already have it. So far, we've 10x the funds in that account. Like I said, we got them in third quarter of 24, and now we've 10x their funds. And they're actually ahead of schedule to meet that goal. Since it's tied to their revenue, if they have really good months, we're gonna do that. And we put 10%, which is a little bit higher than what we needed to make sure if we have a lower month, we're not screwing ourselves over that much. And then in the better months, we're really getting ahead. Let's go to the next issue we had. So this one had a really easy solution that would give them $133,000 of additional revenue, which would double their revenue from advertising. And they were spending about $4,000 a month across 6 different platforms. However, none of these platforms were performing as well as the owner had seen in his previous job, because he did work at a different company as a general manager in the same industry. And he said, none of these platforms are getting the return they did there. What is going on? We're doing the same split of our total marketing budget, the same percentages, we're just not getting the same what's going on. The problem was their budget was getting spread way too thin, so none of the dollars that they put into any of these platforms were actually getting much leverage. As exactly what we did, we took the budget from 4 platforms, so we had allotted for 4, and we put all of that money into the highest performing platform. We then took the money from the remaining 2 platforms and put that into the second highest performing. So we doubled the second highest performing and we 4x the highest performing one in terms of the month after we did this change, the revenue generated from ads doubled. The key takeaway here is that the more you put on a platform, the more you spend on the platform, the more leverage you'll get for every dollar you spend there. Obviously, there is a point where they're going to hit diminishing returns. We calculated that, and we have a plan of, hey, this is when you add this specific platform with this amount of spend. Let's move on to the final issue here. That is tracking data. These owners did not track anything, nothing, which explains why they didn't even know why their business was failing. Like they knew it's failing, they don't know why. So when we came in, we instantly started implementing some data tracking just so we get an idea of what we need to do, right? Because we go in there, we're like, well, we don't know either. There's no data for us to figure this out. We started tracking all their expenses to get an idea, hey, where's the money going after it comes in? We track the revenue to see, hey, how much are we bringing in so we can compare it to the expenses. And then we can also see, hey, where is this revenue coming in from? And then finally, we track the profitability of each crew and each job type they had, right? Because they were doing quite a few different trades within the same company. And we also tracked the revenue per hour generated for every single employee in the company so that we could see if there's any inefficiencies within a certain role or within a specific crew. So this alone actually turned around the business for them. Within 8 months, they got out of the red and they were profitable again. Once we implemented the data, we gave it to the owner so that he could see it. And just seeing exactly where money was going, where it was coming from, what was efficient, what wasn't, allowed the owner to take really good decisions. This guy was an amazing business person. He had a really good mind. He just didn't have the data to use that mind. So those are 3 massive impact solutions that we implemented for our clients this past year. Anyways, if you do have any questions or anything, feel free to leave them in the comments. Go to our contact page on our website and ask any questions you have. Marcos with Woop Environmental, efficiency that pays off.